Okay, so yesterday we started our book and we learned a little bit about Amy Ann, which is our main character. So, one of the things that I noticed is that Amy Ann thinks one thing but says something else. She seems to actually be very shy. And I'm going to kind of show you why I was thinking that. So, I first noticed it in chapter one when she was talking to her best friend and her best friend kept saying things, and then she always has this remark that she wants to say, but she just says yes or yeah. And then the same thing happens when she's talking to the librarian and when she's talking to her parents. So I'm noticing this like something that keeps happening. So it's really making me think that Amy Ann is actually very shy and that she has a lot of things going on in her head or that she cares about that nobody really knows. And I also noticed that her sisters get on her nerves. So I wonder if she just feels different than all of them. So let's read and see if we can find out any more about Amy Ann and any more about her problem of her favorite book being banned. So this chapter is chapter 4, Ponies and Pink Tutus. Our four huge Rottweilers, Flotsam and Jetsam, met us at the door to lick my face. They were so tall they came up to my armpits. Off, off, I said, trying to pet them so they knew I had said hello. They barked and wagged their tails, squirming in front of us so much I couldn't move. I had to follow my mother like she was an icebreaker ship, pushing past the dogs into the kitchen. Dad was there stirring two pots on the stove and baking something in the oven and making a salad. Dad was tall and thin, with skin as dark as mine and muscular arms from laying brick all day. He had his opera music playing loud again, some Italian lady singing like somebody was shaking her on the shoulders the whole time. Spaghetti in 15 minutes, he told us. Alexis, he yelled, come set the table. I've asked her 3 times. I can't, Alexis called from our room down the hall. I'm changing for ballet. Amy Ann, will you do it, honey? Dad asked. No. Alexis always has some excuse to not do what she's told. Make her do it. That's what I wanted to say. But I knew from experience it didn't make any sense to argue. It never had. It was easier for everybody concerned if I just went ahead and did it. I dumped my backpack on the floor and went to the cabinet for plates. Mom disappeared down the hall to change out of her work clothes. How was chess club? Dad asked me, and I cringed a little. I took the late bus home every day because I told my parents I was staying late for different clubs. But I wasn't really in chess club or anime club or robotics club. I wasn't in any club. I just sat in my favorite corner of the library and read books until I had to leave. It was the only time I ever got any peace and quiet. Fine, I lied. Angelina, my youngest sister, came galloping into the kitchen on all fours. She was a pudgy 5-year-old with mom's dimples, dad's darker skin, and her hair pulled back into a frizzy ponytail on the back of her head. Angelina had decided she was going to grow up to be a pony, and for the past few weeks, she'd been practicing all day. She made sounds with her lips and nudged me with her hands. Hello, Angelina, I said. Rainbow Sparkle, she told me. Rainbow Sparkle was her pony name. I was definitely not calling her Rainbow Sparkle. The dogs thought Angelina was playing with them, and they started hopping around and barking at her right where I was walking. I had to hold the plates up high not to drop them as I squeezed back and forth. Angelina and the dogs got under Dad's feet, and he stepped back from the stove with a scowl. Okay, I need all ponies and dogs out of the kitchen while I finish dinner, Dad said. Amy Ann, can you do something with them? Why am I supposed to do something with them? I'm not the one crawling around on the floor getting them all riled up. That's what I wanted to say, but of course I didn't. I just grabbed Roller Girl out of my backpack, led Angelina into the hall by her imaginary lead, and called Flotsam and Jetsam to follow me into the room I shared with Alexis. Alexis's clothes were all over the floor of the bedroom, even on my side of the room, and she was holding onto the corner of my bed to practice arabesque in her pink tutu. Alexis, The middle sister was a pretty brown color, somewhere between mom and dad, and had her pink highlighted hair cut short and straightened. A pop song blasted from her CD player. I kicked her clothes across the imaginary line that separated the two sides of our room. Use your own bed, I told her for the thousandth time. I can't, she told me for the thousandth time. Your bedpost is exactly the same height as the ballet barre. Too bad, I said, but she didn't let go. I punched the eject button on her CD player, nabbed the CD, and jumped up on my bed. Alexis scrambled after me, reaching for the CD. Mom, Mom, Amy Ann took my music again, Alexis yelled. It's my room too, and I want to read, I told her. Amy Ann, Mom called. Amy Ann, give your sister back her CD. Why? It's half my room too, I wanted to say, and I don't want to listen to Taylor Swift while I read. But I knew it wouldn't do me any good. Alexis always got to practice her ballet whenever she wanted to. I tossed the CD like a frisbee into Alexis's bed and dove across the room for it. As she dove across the room for it, I called the dogs and they followed me as I stomped into the hall. Mom had changed her clothes and was headed to the kitchen when her phone rang. Don't answer that, Dad yelled. Mom took the phone out of her pocket and looked at it. It's the office. Definitely don't answer that, Dad yelled. Mom answered it. Hello? Yes? You're kidding. Redo the presentation? Really? Before the end of the day tomorrow? But it's not due until... No, I'm home already. About to sit down with my family, Ann. She covered the phone with her hand and called out to my dad. Jamal, can you please turn that music down? Told you not to answer it, Dad said. He didn't turn down the crazy opera singer. Flotsam and Jetsam tried to run into the kitchen again to mooch for food, and I had to drag them with me into the living room. But I couldn't even hide out there. Angelina had pulled all the cushions off the furniture to make a barn for herself, and she used Mom's paper shredder again to slice up paper to make fake hay. Today, she found something to build a fence out of, too. My books, I said. The few books I owned were all propped up against each other in a half circle outside her barn, with spines twisting out of shape. I started to snatch them up, and Angelina wailed. No, no, I need those. I need those. She tried to grab them back from me. You're not using them. Well, you're not using your room, I told her. How about I just go in there and read? Alexis and I shared a room because 5 years ago, Mom and Dad decided our house wasn't crazy enough and they needed another kid. So Angelina got a room all to herself because she was the baby and had a different bedtime. I would have been happy to go to bed at 8 o'clock every night and read if it meant I could have my own room. But I knew there was no way Alexis and Angelina would share a room together. I marched towards Angelina's room with my arm full of books. No, no, that's my room. You can't, Angelina screamed. Mom stuck her head out of the room. Girls, please, I'm on the phone with work. Angelina wrapped herself around my leg. Amy Ann took my fence and now she's going to my room, she wailed. Amy Ann, I need you to be the mature one here, Mom said. But Mom mean frowned at me. Fix this, she said, and went back to her phone call. So I had to give Alexis's CD back, but Angelina didn't get to have my books back. How fair was that? And Mom didn't understand why I wanted to run away. I turned away from Angelina's room and shoved the books back at her. Here, and if you bend any of the pages or covers, you're a dead horsey. Understand? Pony, Angelina said, arranging the book back into her fence. Amy Ann, Dad called. I thought I asked you to keep these dogs out of the kitchen. They're licking the floor again. I drooped. The dog had slipped away from me while I was arguing with Angelina. Flotsam, Jetsam, come, I yelled. In the hall, Mom put a finger on her other ear and frowned. I'm sorry, can you say that again? I led the dogs into the bathroom and shut the door. It was the only place left where I could get away from everyone. I sat down on the closed toilet seat with a huff and pulled Jet and Flot to me, hugging them. They were the only ones who ever really listened to me. With everybody else, I just stopped trying. I don't suppose you guys have found a magic rabbit hole I can fall down, or dug up an enchanted amulet in the backyard that leads to another world, have you? Flotsam and Jetsam licked my face and wagged their stubby tails, which I took as a no. At least we can hide here until dinner, I told them. The door rattled. Mom! Mom! Alexis yelled. Amy Ann is hogging the bathroom and I have to pee. Chapter 5. It Speaks. At dinner, Alexis twirled her spaghetti on her fork like a ballerina, making a plie into the sauce. Angelina whinnied and ate without using her hands. I decided to get on the computer after dinner and look up how far I'd have to walk to run away to the public library. This presentation thing means I'm going to have to work late all this week, Mom said. I need you to pick up Angie from Miss Taggart, she told Dad. I can do every day but Thursday, he said. I've got that appointment to see about rebricking that house in North Riley. I should be able to take Alexis to ballet, though. Mom sighed. I'll just have to find someone to cover for me. Anything else? I want to go to the school board meeting on Thursday, I wanted to say, and this time I actually said it. Mom and Dad looked at me in surprise. A school board meeting, Dad said. Are you thinking about running for office, kiddo? No, I said. I just need to go. Thursday is already very busy, sweetheart, Mom said. Your dad has his appointment. Alexis has ballet at 7. Angelina has her play date that afternoon. I've got a big presentation at work due next week. But they are going to ban my favorite book, I told them. Who is? Dad asked. The school board. Why? Mom said. Is there something that you shouldn't be reading in the first place? No, it's from the mixed up files of Miss Basil E. Frankwaller. I've read it like 100 times, but now it's not on the shelf anymore, and it's my favorite book. It sounds like you're pretty fired up about this, Mom said. I guess I was. Everybody at the table was looking at me. Angelina had even stopped pretending to be a pony. Mom and Dad glanced across the table at each other, saying something to each other without saying anything like they do sometimes. And Dad said, I guess I could take if you could pick up Angelina and take Alexis to ballet too. I can't do both, Mom says, but I can ask Miss Mitchell if Angelina can stay for dinner again, and maybe Alexis can come back to the office with me until it's time for ballet. Alexis and Angelina protested. Angelina said Miss Mitchell's food was too spicy, and Alexis always thought Mom's office was too cold. But Mom and Dad told them they would both survive, and that was that. I was going to the school board meeting. I couldn't believe it. For once, I had actually said what I was thinking, and something was happening about it. I felt a little flutter in my chest, like the split second when you're peering over the top of the hill on a roller coaster, and then the weight of it grabs you and drags you down, and you're scared but really excited. I wanted to close my eyes and throw my hands in the air and scream, but that might have freaked everybody out. Then again, maybe nobody here in Crazy Town would have noticed. So I really like this chapter because for once, Amy Ann spoke up for what she wanted. And then she even says that I couldn't believe it. For once, I actually said what I was thinking and something was happening about it. So I wonder if she's learning that if she says what she thinks, instead of always going along like she's doing, even in this chapter, that makes a difference. We'll have to see tomorrow when we read the next chapters.